Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. Let's go over the key parts to a Space Marine army and what will likely carry over into 10th edition so you can start building your army ready to go. We don't know how Firstborn are going to work in 10th, so I'll mostly be sticking to Primaris units as Firstborn will eventually be phased out of the game. I'm not going to just choose a unit and spam it 3 times to get maximum efficiency out of it, as the meta will fluctuate heavily during the first few months of 10th, as all armies will have their early indexes. First off, we need to think about HQ choices. There are many options available for Space Marines, but it's always hard to look past the standard Space Marine captain. They come in a couple of different variants, but there's a new Terminator captain coming along with 10th edition, so it's likely that the captain role will be important for Space Marines. And if they're going to be good, might as well pick the cool new unit. In 9th edition, they gave a 6-inch aura to reroll hit rolls of a 1 for core units. It looks like the core keyword has been removed, so they will likely now give a buff to all units. The captain will likely be your warlord, letting you give them additional relics and war gear as well as warlord traits. This will buff the captain further and the surrounding units. If you don't want to take the new Terminator captain, then you have the choice of a standard Primaris captain with or without a relic storm shield, or a Phobos captain, which is in theory should hopefully be more combat and speed orientated for 10th edition than it was for 9th. The secondary HQ slot will be an interesting choice and will likely be more tied into what type of army you would like to run. In 9th edition, you would take a chaplain mainly for combat armies, as they have a lot of buffs that they can kick out to other units, as well as being able to hit hard in combat, especially if you kit them out in the right way in a White Scars army. Lieutenants are always useful, as they give the aura to reroll wound rolls of a 1, which is always useful when you have high damage weapons and a wounding on a 2, and you will always eventually roll a 1. I think this could well be a basic lineup for Space Marine armies until the codexes roll out, as chaplains, tech marines and librarians might not have the necessary rules on launch to make them worth taking. We have a new Terminator librarian coming, but there are a few factions that are far superior using the warp, and the psychic mechanic is changing, so it's hard to say if these units will be worthwhile or a deadweight to the army. So I think pretty much you're just going to take a captain and a lieutenant with you, and maybe add a little flavour later on. For troop choices, it largely depends on what type of army you want to build. If you're going for a more combat oriented army, you might look at assault intercessors and incursors and infiltrators. This will give you a little bit of early board control as well as some extra punch and counter punch in melee. More shooting armies might focus on intercessors and heavy intercessors, laying down streams of bolter rounds while the rest of your army advances. You would probably take a mix when going into 10th, taking an intercessor unit and then one of the forward deploying units, either incursors or infiltrators. I feel like assault intercessors will likely pay attacks on taking an assault weapon and largely be in an awkward position where they don't do enough to justify being almost the same point of intercessors. You saw this also at the start of 9th edition and throughout most of the edition. Troops will be battle line units, allowing you to take up to 6 units per army. They will likely come with additional objective secure points or abilities to help you secure objectives. There's a fair few options in fast attack that you can choose from. Picking up a Storm Speeder would be a good idea. There's 3 different variants, the Thunderstrike, Hammerstrike and Hailstrike, and they come in one multi-part kit. They are easy to magnetize, so you can chop and change your variant without having to spend any extra money. They give you the ability to quickly get to any part of the battlefield as they can fly, whilst laying down a decent amount of firepower. Inceptors paid a massive tax during 9th, making them pretty useless for most of the edition, as they were just way too expensive to use. I can't see them being so heavily priced out for another edition, so they may be a useful purchase. They come in some of the combat patrol boxes and other starter boxes, so you may be able to pick up the sprues for cheap on the likes of eBay. They come with dual plasma guns, which is pretty cool, and you can take plasma death to anywhere on the tabletop. Just don't be rolling 1s on these very expensive models. Looking at the elite options, it would probably be best to pick up the new Terminator squad. The role in 9th has heavily fluctuated throughout, but they've generally been a solid choice for a lot of armies. Not only that, the new models look amazing, which is always a benefit when choosing models. They will be able to not only shower the enemy and bolter fire when they teleport in, they will also take part in a lot of power smashy face with their power fists. Another new elite unit that is coming is what looks like a replacement for the Sternguard Veterans unit. These models come with bolters with underslung attachments, like the grenade launcher for the Intercessor squad. They were previewed in the trailer with underslung flamers, but expect other options to be included, such as melter and plasma variants. Heavy support has a couple of good options, namely the Gladiator tank, which comes in 3 variants, Lancer, Reaper and Valiant, giving you the option to tackle almost every other unit in the game. They have been good throughout the whole of 9th edition and were a real sleeper unit as they were slightly expensive in price to begin with. Once we've seen a couple of point reductions, they've really been tearing up other armies. The Gladiator also comes in a 3-part kit, allowing you to buy one Gladiator tank and magnetize it so you can easily change between the variants without shelling out further cash. The Desolator squad will be a good unit to take. It's a new unit that offers a substantial amount of out of line of sight shooting, something the Space Marines generally struggled with for most of 9th edition. They're a good choice to have when you need to dig out units that are holding objectives behind cover. Toughness 3 armies hate this squad as they can wreak havoc on them. Some of these models will be included in one of the new sets that will be released for 10th edition, so if you're looking to start an army, keep an eye out for when they announce what will be released and then make some early purchases before 10th edition launches. There's plenty of mobility and firepower in the army, so it should leave you with about 700 points to play with for 9th edition, so you can specialise into a faction, adding some melee options or even more fire support. You will need plenty of time to get a new 2000 point army painted and ready to go, so start as soon as you can. Just always remember to buy what you like, as you'll be more motivated to build and paint that unit, rather than buying what's currently good and ending up with an entirely grey army. What is good will come and go, but cool models will always remain cool. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any comments, then pop them below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the like button as it greatly helps the channel. Hit the subscribe button to see any future Warhammer content. Take it easy and see you next time for more grim darkness from the 41st millennium.